How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 29th of September 2022. We're going to be focusing on the monthly chart of Bitcoin today. I want to show you something that could potentially be unfolding over the next, couple of weeks, but we'll see. Before I do, though, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. Very close to 6,000 subs, which would be pretty awesome if we can get there. So I'd be, very grateful if people could share the channel if you want to, and if you find value in obviously the content that I share. I'd really appreciate that. So with all of that said, let's just talk about the monthly charts of Bitcoin. So the only thing we really need to kind of focus on, and what I want to emphasize before I drop down to the daily, is this drop into the liquidity, the response away from that, the subsequent reversal of that response, and then this candle right here. Right, it goes all the way up, and at one point, the month of September was quite green, and it was very possible at the time that it could have gone up and just taken out this high. A lot of people were calling for 24 to 26, and not to say that it was wrong or right. It was a valid assumption that price could potentially get above this high and start to drive towards that 26,000 level, but ultimately it didn't do that, and it's reversed. Right, so we have one more day left of this month. And it's very, very possible, that we're going to be closing maybe around these kind of levels where we're at. It's almost like we're creating this new range between sort of 18,000 and 19,000, with the potential to continue going lower to number 3, right? Which was obviously the ultimate target over the last couple of weeks when we've stretched out this number 3. This is what we're looking for now. But you've got to kind of look at the monthly time frame is very, 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 very powerful, right? And it doesn't turn or change very often, right? Because it's just so drawn out, it's so long, and these months, these moves take so long to form. I mean, this 3-month move, as aggressive as it looks, still took 3 months, and within these 3 months, there was a lot of ups and downs and lefts and rights, and consolidations and whatever. But ultimately, that 3-month period is pretty long. Obviously, 1 to 3 months now, staying in roughly the same sort of range, this broad range consolidation, which kind of helps me to illustrate a point. Sometimes when you're looking at the lower time frames and you see these kind of higher highs and higher lows, it looks like price is trending upwards, but the reality is on these much higher time frames, which are way more dominant, price is just going sideways, right? But you can see this very small attempt to just, catch a little bit of relief, the reversal of that, which was very, very, very potent in the sense that pretty much the next month it's like, yeah, no thanks, and it just went straight down. But what's interesting to note, if I just zoom right in for a second, the high of that month was taken before price started to run to the downside. Very interesting, right? And then obviously we get this month and it reverses, and it's looking like we could get a little bit more continuation to the downside. Now, it is possible that the month of October, we could see a little bit of, a little bit more of nothing, price going sideways, maybe a little bit of a run to the upside. But ultimately, I think the monthly has shown enough of a push, and enough of stabilization and enough of a little bounce and then a reversal, to give us that last final push into number 3, which puts us roughly around about, let me try one more time. Puts us roughly, oh my goodness, what is wrong with me? Puts us roughly around about 17,600, give or take. I think we go below that 17.5. So the monthly time frame with all of this, and what I'm trying to emphasize is the monthly time frame, is in control. It's pushing price lower, right? And we can see on the weekly, this kind of upward movement, the reversal, which was that candle we discussed, and then this one. These 2 green candles and these 2 down candles. This is that wick that was left behind. And like I said, it is looking like we're going to get that continuation into number 3. Just drop down to the daily to see how all of this looks. And again, you can see the broad range consolidation. Yes, it does look like it was trending here. Yes, it looks like it's trending here, but ultimately we're stuck in a range. And until we break out of this range, you guys have heard me say about injections of volatility. This is what we need. We need something to come back into the marketplace. So ultimately, we are very close to something happening, I believe. We've got some craziness going on the dollar. Dollar's tearing. It did hit that almost 114.77, very, very close, depending on what feed you're looking at, of that 115 that I was calling for. I did say between 110 and 115, and I made it very clear, to some of the people that I know, I'm like, look, it's probably going to hit 115 to be fair. And ultimately, I'll quickly show you something actually, because this is really important. The dollar if we just do this, the dollar is obviously on a tear. There's no question about it, right? Now, this last portion where you're just getting a little bit of relief up here, right around about that 115, give or take, right around about 140. It's 114.77, but let's just say 115. We're getting a little bit of relief. But if we drop down to the weekly chart, this does not look like it wants to slow down. This is relief, and actually, this is not a good thing. If you're trying to short the dollar, because what it looks like, what it looks like is going to happen. We're going to get a little bit more, potentially something like this, bit of relief, and then we get that last final push to the upside. And I'm expecting the dollar to capitulate and then crash. And when I say crash, I don't mean crash to zero, I mean it's going to capitulate and dry up. And if this trajectory continues with slowdown, it is possible that that next leg up is probably going to push us towards 120. If that happens, global currencies aren't going to be in good shape at all, right? And we've already seen what's happening with the pound. Obviously, the pound's taken a bit of a beating all the way down to these 1985 lows. I don't think I did a public video on this. I did actually. It was years ago, but yeah, this was for the Patreon. I was talking in the Patreon, but 1985 low, a little bit of a response from that, pretty decent. If we just look at the daily, you can see a great opportunity if anybody catch that for a really nice run. But ultimately, what I'm trying to emphasize is that the pound has taken a beating, and it is looking like they're doing some stress tests, I'd say. So with all of that said, if we just go back to, and I know I'm rambling, but this is important. If we just go back to Bitcoin, if the dollar capitulates at 118 to 120, and Bitcoin pushes towards 16, maybe 15, and the dollar starts to take a bit of a turn to the downside. After capitulating, it is possible that we see some pretty decent run, on Bitcoin and ultimately the entire cryptocurrency market. So that's what I'm expecting. It is going to take some time to unfold, but if we just rein it all the way back in, the only focus for me right now is this, number 3. That's what I'm expecting. That's where I want to see price. And with all of that said, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day or evening wherever you're in the world. Don't worry about the tweet that I posted. There's always a reason for me posting the things that I post. I hope everyone's having a good day. All the best. Take care. Ciao for now.